Christy, I've been traveling across former Soviet republics in Eastern Europe and talking to senior officials, former senior officials, who have all been saying, basically, I told you so, that they have warned the U.S. government in the past that they themselves have been the target of Russian cyber attacks, of other forms of Russian hybrid warfare, and that whatever the U.S. is seeing in connection with the most recent U.S. presidential election is an echo of previous attacks that they've seen in the past in their countries. One of the officials I've spoken to is the former president of the Republic of Georgia, Mikhail Saakashvili, who famously went to war against Russia and lost. Here's an excerpt of what he had to tell me. Take a listen.
Well, I almost was like vindicated when the same administration in Washington suddenly started to speak about Russian involvement in elections, because for me, it's a deja vu. They were the same people telling us, no, it cannot possibly be true. And now it came to their doorsteps. And of course he does all those things. Of course he's a great master. He controls the greatest amount of black cash anybody had ever controlled in history.
The defense ministry in Latvia, another former Soviet republic, Christie, saying that they come under frequent cyber attacks and that they believe they come originally from Russia. Here in Ukraine, the Ukrainian government saying that they've come under at least 10 major cyber attacks recently, including the infrastructure ministry. It saw its website taken down earlier today. Ukrainian officials so far are not directly pointing the finger at Russia for that. However, in December, Ukraine says that one of its electricity companies was attacked. That forced a blackout of more than 100 cities across this country, partial blackout over more than 150 other cities across Ukraine. And in that case, Ukrainian and U.S. investigators did point the finger at Russia, saying that a virus coming from Russia was responsible for that rather large blackout that took place. Christy?
You just detailed concrete examples of how Russia has used its cyber power to go after targets in Ukraine, in Georgia, and elsewhere. Is there growing concern in Europe that Russia could use its cyber power again, especially with upcoming big elections there?
Certainly, and we've heard warnings from the intelligence chiefs of the UK and of Germany, and I've also heard it from senior Latvian government officials, warnings that Russia could try to meddle in upcoming elections that are key in France, in Germany, and in the Netherlands. Some of these officials, certainly here in former Soviet states, saying we saw it ourselves in our own previous elections. Now, it's important to note that all of these countries have very complicated, in some cases tense, relationships with Russia. In the case of Latvia, it is a member of the NATO military alliance. All of these countries look to the West, to the U.S. for protection against Russia, particularly Ukraine, which is currently in the second year of a war against separatists that are backed by their neighbor to the east, Russia. So they all have an agenda when they're making some of these accusations, but they also have a very interesting perspective. These are all countries that are former Soviet republics. So some of these officials are saying that the tactics they're seeing that today, the more modern technology, echo back to strategies that they saw of disinformation, of spreading propaganda that they saw developed by the Soviets in the 1960s and the 1970s when these countries themselves were part of the Soviet Union.